Lesson 5.5, fractions and decimals, page number 393. What we're going to do is we're going to convert fractions to decimals, then we're going to convert decimals to fractions, and we're going to start combining some things. So let's get started with A, converting fractions to decimals. Example A says write 3/4 as a decimal. So we have 3/4, and if you remember, any fraction actually means a division. 3 divided by 4. This line is a division sign, so it said 3 divided by 4. So if you want to change this to a decimal, you have to 3 divided by 4. So the way you do that is you just write the number 3, because that's the first thing that came out of my mouth, divided by, the sign goes on the 3 because there's nothing else to put the sign on, 4. Okay? Because this is smaller than this, 4 does not divide into it evenly. So we put a decimal here and a decimal up here. Remember, the decimal's here, it goes also up there. And we add a few zeros here. So now we got 4 divided by 3, it doesn't. But 4 does go into 30 7 times. So 7 times 4 is 28. This gives me 2. Bring down a 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 0 left over, so we're stopped there. So 3/4 as a decimal is 0.75. Alright, let's do another one. We have a number such as 7/12. And it says, write 7/12 as a decimal. And notice it says correct to the thousandths column. So we're not going to go as far over as what it would allow us. So 7 divided by 12. Put a decimal here because 7 is smaller than 12. Put a little bit of zeros there and just start dividing. In fact, let's erase that just so it doesn't confuse us. 12 goes into 7 5 times. That's 60. We have 10 left over. 12 does not go into 10, so we bring down another 0. 12 does go into 100 8 times. 8 times 12 is 96. We have 4 left over, bring down a 0. 12 goes into 40 3 times. 3 times 12 is 36. With a 4 left over, bring down another 0. Every time we have a remainder, we got to keep adding zeros and keep going, hopefully getting rid of them. So 36, and we got a 40. It just doesn't seem to want to end. That's why the problem in example 2 says correct to the thousandths column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look here and see where the thousands is. 10, 100. There's my thousands column. That's as far as I want to go. So these, I don't even need them. But I do need the first one to find out if I need to round this up or down. Because this number here to the right of the thousandths column, where I'm supposed to stop, is less than 5, I know my 3 isn't going to round up. And these numbers then, remember, they just disappear. We don't even need them. So that ends up being my answer is 0.583 because I just rounded to the nearest thousands. Okay. Takes us to the next page. And we have 3/11 as a decimal. So 3/11. So it says, well, let me just do it in the right order here. Keep me from getting confused. 3 divided by 11. 3 is smaller than 11. Put a decimal there, decimal up there. Add a few zeros there. So 11 goes into 3. It doesn't. 11 goes into 30 twice. 22. 8 left over. Bring down a 0. 11 goes into 87 times. 77. Bring down a 3. Bring down another 0. 2. 2 times 7 is 22. Bring down another 0. And notice I'm repeating. So what you're going to do, once you find out this is repeating, instead of writing 0.272727 forever and ever, you're going to write 0.27 and put a line over the 2 and the 7. What that line means is that everything under the line is going to repeat itself. So in this case, 0.272727. I may have something like 0.63 with a line over just the 3. Well, that means my 6 isn't repeating, but my 3 is. So this is just a shortcut, so you're not writing a bunch of 3s or a bunch of 0.27s or whatever number happens to be repeating there. Alright, bottom of page 394, converting decimals to fractions. So 5.38. And they're asking me to change that into a fraction All I'm going to do is take the decimal off, put a line, count how many decimal places over my last number is, 2, and then put a 1 in front. So, 2 zeros and a 1. If this were 0.0038, put my number 38 up there, count how many place values I have, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I put 4 zeros here and a 1. So now I have 38 over 10,000. That's all there is to transfer or translating a decimal into a fraction. The problem is, if you notice that, well, let's do 0.75. Change that to a fraction and we get 75 over 1,000. That's all well and good, but we have to make this in its lowest terms. So now you're going to have to go back to some old stuff we did chapters ago on how to reduce fractions to its lowest terms by using the factor tree, finding the common factors of 75 and 1,000, dividing them into both of them and reducing them. And I'll leave that up to you to go back and do some review on that if you need to in order to remember how to do that. This next section, part C, is saying you're going to run into some problems that not only have fractions but also have decimals. So for example, example 7, they give us 19 over 50 and they're asking us to multiply that times the quantity 1.32 plus 0.48. Alright, again, according to PEMDAS, you're going to add stuff in the parentheses first, and then we'll go from there. So, 1.32 plus 0.48 is actually 1.80. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the fraction here, and we're going to make that into a decimal. So, 19 divided by 50, decimal there, add a few zeros. And when we do that, we find out that it is 0.38. So 19 over 50 is going to change into 0.38 as a decimal. Now we can multiply these two together and end up getting 0.684 as our answer. So I find it easiest to change the fraction into the decimal rather than the decimal into the fraction. So that's just me. You may find an easier way to do it for yourself, but that way seems to work fine and dandy for me. If you're on page 396, example 9, a little bit trickier, not really harder, but a little bit trickier because we got a cube in there. Alright, lots of stuff to do. First of all, PEMDAS says you're going to do your exponents first. So 1/2 is the same as 1/2 times 1/2 times 1/2. Multiply the top together, you get 1, 2's, and you get an 8. So 1/2 cubed is 1/8. We're going to multiply that times 2.4 plus 1/4 squared is 1 over 16 times 3.2. And when we do that, we're going to change these to decimals now. I mean, fortunately for me, I know that 1/8 is the same as 0.125. And then multiply that by 2.4. See, I would have been 1 divided by 8 to get that 0.125. And then 1 over 16 is going to be 0.0625. Again, you just kind of learn that stuff because you're a math geek or something. Multiply these together, add them together, and you get your final answer. So remember to convert these to decimals so that you can combine them and then add them and do whatever is necessary. Alright, so I'm going to end 5.5 and do a 5.5b as we go over some applications.